What are your audio and video settings in Roll20?
I have everything.
I have everything on ultra
off because we use Thingy Boo Jiggy, so I have everything off.
Yeah.
Nah, boys, I can't hear the music. It's upsetting me greatly.
Just chill. Just put on royalty-free tavern music.
Welcome back to Azureth. We
Hello,
are going to pick up our story in Xehith, the Elven desert kingdom to the southwest of Azureth. We are currently at the base of the mountains of the Concilius tribe, who are the divinatory tribe that Triple G is from. You guys entered Xehith from the north, and you met with Valandor Shiro, who was the leader of the blade-singing Manti tribe. You guys explained to him that you have reason to believe there is danger originating from the Mortuous tribe, from your research regarding the fact that shadow glass is being mined there for some nefarious purpose that you're currently not too aware of. Bringing this to his attention, you guys travelled to Concilius, and you were granted audience with the leaders of all of the tribes of Xehith, and you travelled to Concilius, the home of GILDOR. You guys currently stand in a small cave opening at the base of the mountain. GILDOR, you are currently keeping your identity hidden, the hood of your trench coat up over your elven features, trying to hide the fact that you are the master of mages who escaped and fled too unsure of yourself to take on that responsibility. The leaders stand in a circle around a large bonfire, enjoying a brief reprieve from the harsh desert winds. For the most of you, you recognise very few individuals, except for Valandor and, of course, Fallon Kibellin, who is the high priestess of the Concilius tribe, who some of you guys met at the Lundus Crest Festival back at Emberfield. GILDOR, you recognise everyone here, and as your eyes flicker from one leader to the next, they stop for a moment longer on the face of Fallon. And as you stand there, hand ready to remove your hood and unveil yourself, your mind wanders back to 2 years ago. It's the night of the convergence of threads, and you couldn't be happier, GILDOR. It is the one night of the year that you get off from having to study. Usually, you finish your daily studies with the village elders, you come home to your parents, Galen and Valindra, and your teachings are immediately continued. You're practicing your spells, you're learning your history, you're practicing everything you've been taught from that day with no chance to socialise or for any reprieve. But today's different. Today is the one day where all the different tribes of Xehith come together to celebrate Naed Falan, which translates to When Magic Sings, also known colloquially as the Night of the Convergence of Threads. It is the one night you're allowed off. So, as the sun sets and you finish your studies, you walk up to the centre of the village with your parents, which is full of people of all the different tribes drinking, celebrating, eating foods and desserts. There are children playing small little magical themed carnival games, using little gust cantrips to knock over piles of sticks, sending off little magic missiles to try and knock small fruits off of trees. There are teens and young adults drinking and flirting. As you look around to all of this, your father says to you, GILDOR, I must tend to my duties as Flamekeeper. Stay with your mother and make sure you are present for the fire-gazing ritual. There is much an aspiring diviner like yourself could learn from watching a ritual as powerful and as ancient as Urulith.
Of course, Father. I mean, good luck, and I'll see you up there.
He nods to you, and just before he turns away, he simply says, and GILDOR, don't embarrass me. And he just turns heel and marches off past the bonfire. So you look around, and there are young children playing, there are people your sort of age socializing, and with the current climate of the tribes of Xehith, there's not a lot of integration going on between the tribes, so a lot of the young teens and people entering maturity, it uses as a chance to meet. You actually see an elf similar to your age, a male elf from the Manti tribe, trying his luck with quite a good-looking female. from the one of the other tribes. Let's see how he gets on. Actually, let's roll a dice. See if he gets on. Just a nice little d20. He strikes out. He goes over. He tries to flirt with her, and she's having none of it.
Yo is taking this all in, overstimulated as fuck. He has been studying all day, and to see this many people, and especially like children his age, is just, I mean, I think to Triple G, that looked like a massive success. He's got no idea what talking to a female is even like. So as I walk past, I'm going to stick my hand out and go, nice, mate, and try and high-five him.
As you go to high-five this man, he looks you up and down, and he just sees this as like you're taking the piss out of him, and he doesn't return your high-five. He sort of looks you up and down, and he walks off to his group of friends, and they start snickering under their breath about you.
Mother, all the people from the other tribes is rude. What the hell is going on?
GILDOR, you've never been one to play nice with others. I can't really help you there. Your father and I, we're a well-respected family here. We want nothing but the best for you, but time and time again, you just embarrass us. And she sort of turns away and gets a glass of wine from another elderly female lady, and they start drinking and sipping it. She's paying you no mind, but she expects you to be near her just for appearances at the moment.
I am, despite again just being absolutely bored off by my mum, I am actually in massive jovial spirits because I have slipped away from my dad. I haven't got to worry about him for a little while, and with such a crowd, my mum also seems kind of quite distracted, so I am going to try my best to sort of just get away and just sort of have some sort of alone time, which is ironic seeing as all I do is spend time on my own, but I want to try and slip away from my mum if I can.
Alright, make me a stealth check. I'll say with advantage because she's currently distracted drinking a wine.
Oh my god, stealth for the boy. Where is it? Fuck's
another
sake.
one with advantage. You get another one.
Oh shit.
Yeah, roll again. You manage to sneak off fairly okay. She's not really paying you mind. She's sipping wine and having a good evening. And you sneak off a little bit. Are you aiming for a particular area in particular, or are you just sort of trying to get away to find a secluded area?
I would like to. So, the setup of the village, is there like a clear point where everyone's going to gather, and like that is the stage almost of what we're going to be looking at, or?
From this isn't your first Convergence of Threads festival. You've been to a few, and you know that when it's time for the fire gazing, which is as if your father's just gone over to help prepare for it, will probably be in the next 15-20 minutes or so. Everyone will be approaching this massive sort of bonfire in the center. So that's kind of the end goal in the next 20 minutes or so. At the moment, people are sort of flittering around everywhere. People are slowly heading over there, but there's no real sense of urgency just yet until it's announced that the ritual's going is about to undergo its ritual. It's pretty sort of chill at the moment.
I would like to. I mean, again, Triple G is all about knowledge and reading and just keeping up with everything that is Xehith. So he wants a good spot, but I'm gonna try and slip away quickly to a more secluded area where no one can see me, and I'd like to cast Find Familiar.
Cool. So you head off like sort of around the back of some of these tents. These are usually like tents people live in, but they've sort of been converted into small food stalls and places where people get refreshments and sort of play some games and stuff. You sort of sneak off around the back of one of those. You look up at the night sky, you see the stars, and as it's the night of the Convergence of Threads, you see the constellation of the LOUIE has begun to crest over and form, symbolizing the weave. And as you cast Find Familiar, these sort of silvery, almost pearlescent mists sort of starts to fly off your fingers and are scattered by the winds. As the winds sort of take them, it forms the familiar of your choosing.
You see, I'm sort of tucked up behind a tent, super fucking nervous. Like, this is not allowed at all. Like, divination is our thing. We only study divination. To be caught doing this, I would be in a shitload of trouble. But obviously, in my spare time, I have managed to learn a couple of things. So I cast Find Familiar, and a little weasel appears in my hand, and I go, "Raymond, how are you, mate?" And I give him a little tickle under the chin.
It sort of squeaks at you, and it sort of, as you go to tickle under the chin, it enjoys tickle for a second, and then it sort of clambers up your arm and runs up to your neck and sort of just perches like on your shoulder, sort of like nuzzling into your neck.
I say to him, Raymond, look, mate, it's back up in the sky. I know you love that. Right, let's get you fed quickly before the thing. And I'm going to quickly sort of try and run off and get Raymond some food from a store or something, and then sit down in front of the, in a good spot.
So you, very easy enough, the food's, there's no sort of paying for food here. It's a celebration. Everything is for everyone. There's a real sense of community going on, which is something that there's been sorely lacking at the moment with the current situations of all of the tribes at the moment. So you managed to get Raymond a few little bites to eat, and you sort of perch up on your own. Sort of everyone's together, but somehow you've managed to find a space where no one wants to be around you at the moment.
Absolutely. I think you can see there's like a group of kids that definitely are in my like divinatory class, all casting message between each other, or like inside joke, prestidigitation, mage hands, all flying around, and I am like good 20 feet away on my own with Raymond tucked like under my collar, and I am just autistically staring at the stage, waiting for apparently something.
So as you're sitting there sort of feeding Raymond little morsels of like breads and some fruits and stuff that you managed to pick up from the different vendors, you see approaching the bonfire your father and Fallon Kibellen, high priestess of your tribe. Your father's carrying a rather plain, rustic-looking ceramic jar with a lid on the top. It's probably big enough to hold it in two hands, but nothing too large. And as they both enter towards the bonfire, there's a hush that takes over the crowd. Your father takes the lid off of this jar, and he places his hand deep inside. It goes down to like just over his elbow. And as he brings his hand back out, he's not holding anything. Instead, this roaring orange fire has wrapped itself around its hand and is currently snaking its way up his arm. It looks like it should be extremely painful, but he shows no sign of discomfort. And he brings his hand up and sort of points it towards the bonfire, and you see the fire from the bonfire is absorbing this fire off his arm, and the fire goes from this rather chilled, quiet embers to this roaring set of orange flames. Fallon Kibellen steps up and says, "People of Xehith, it is good to see you all. From the tribes in the north, to the south, east and west, to the transmuters, the abjurations, the abjurers, the enchanters, and the conjurers. I welcome you to Concilius. As always, at our Convergence of Threads Festival, as we have for the past 100 years, I shall engage in the ancient art of Urlith, of fire gazing. It has been far too long since we have been without a master of mages. Hopefully Mishra will bless us with her knowledge. Hopefully we have better luck than in previous years, as I have attempted this ritual countless times over the last 100 years, to no avail." She sort of stands back, her glazed white pearly eyes, which being part of her village means she's completely blind, but somehow has access to the most amazing divinatory sight known for a long, long time. And she stands out, raises her arms, and starts to speak in ancient Elvish into the fire. Almost this ritualistic, slow chanting, getting faster and faster and faster. And as she increases the speed she's speaking at, the flames grow larger. The colour begins to change rapidly. The orange turns to red, to a purple, to a white, to a green, to a blue, to a black, and then back to orange over and over and over again. The intensity builds and builds and builds. I'd like you to roll either an insight or a perception check, and I'm going to say with advantage because you have seen this ritual many a time.
So you said insight or perception?
Insight or perception, your choice. Each will give you a slightly different understanding of what's going on, but whichever one you choose in this moment.
I'm trying to think whether I would like to do insight on Fallon or perception on the actual process of what is going. I'll do.
Yeah, that's the choice. You either choose insight on Fallon or perception on the fire itself.
I'm going to go with perception.
Cool. Okay, so as you watch the flames build and change colour, you've seen Fallon undergo ritual many a times, and A lot of the time, she's had little to no response. Some points, she's had a response to something different. She's divined natural disasters that are coming your way, poor crops poor crop yields coming forwards that they've planned for. But this is completely different. This is much more violent, much more powerful than you've ever witnessed before. And as she's undergoing this ritual, you see Thalen start to slump in her body, and she's being propped up by some magical presence. She is not keeping herself standing at this point. She's still standing because there is something holding her up, but she has lost all consciousness, and you could just tell, just from your understanding of magic, that whatever's going on right now, she is divining something incredibly powerful. After a while, people start to get nervous. People want to go and intervene, but your father holds his hand across and stops anyone from going close. And after a second or two, she collapses to the ground. There's a hushed silence across the crowd, and she slowly regains her consciousness, uses her walking stick to get back up. And as she opens her eyes, there's still this pearlescent white, but she's looking directly at you. And she says, "Gildor Gilgalad of the Concilious tribe, you have been chosen. You shall become the new Master of Mages." And everyone sort of turns to look at you. People that are in your class have never recognized you, don't even know who you really are. They look, "Oh, that looks familiar." There's a murmuring, there's a chattering, and all of a sudden you have the entirety of Xehith's population staring at you. I would like you to roll me a panic attack check, please. Just a d20.
Okay. Lucky for some.
You begin to feel your heart pound in your chest. You've never had this much attention on you before. And as you feel your chest tighten, your hands clam up, your eyes start to roll, and almost shadows start to take over your vision, you just feel the presence of Raymond sort of weaseling around in your pocket. And he calms you down enough to at least not pass out directly in front of everyone.
Raymond, what the fuck? Raymond, what the fuck? She said me. And I slowly sort of, I mean, everyone is looking at me, so I realise that even the idiot that I would be socially, I can't just sit here on the floor. So I sort of get up and sort of stumble over to near Thalen and well, sort of in the try and shadow up in the usual position behind my dad.
And sorry, did you say you're approaching Thalen and everyone?
I can't just stand in the middle of the crowd like a wally, so I'm going to at least try and get up there with them.
As you approach, it's hard to gauge the atmosphere, whether people are happy that there's finally a Master of Mages, whether people are confused that it is this young child, barely crest into adulthood, who knows so little and is known by so few. It's a very mixed reception, but as you approach, your father sort of stares at you. You can't really gauge whether he's proud, happy, excited, or just he's a very stoic figure, your father. And as you approach Thalen, she simply places a hand on your shoulder and says, "Our people have a savior. Our people have a leader. Gildor, pack your things immediately. Your training begins now. We shall train you to the mountains, and you shall train under my tutelage."
Like, what, now or?
"We will go at once. Say your goodbyes to your parents. We will go now."
Well, Dad, how are you going to get there? Are we travelling in the same car or?
"Gildor, your mother and I will not be joining you." And you see he takes off this trench coat that he's wearing. He hands it to you and simply says, no good luck. No, I love you. No, I'm proud of you. Simply says, "It gets cold in the mountains." Hands you the trench coat, turns away, and walks off to your mother.
Gildor is absolutely speechless. For a divination wizard, I've got no idea what the fuck is going on. I think I'll sort of stumble after Thalen in a complete daze and just at least try and lick my wounds away from the whole entire fucking country looking right at me.
And as you stumble away with Thalen, this flashback ends in your head. And we now fast forward to the night before your initiation. You're standing in the mountains of Concilius. You're about knee deep in a stream. Water rushes past you. Now you have your Master of Mages tattoos, and you're hearing a lesson that you've heard many a time from Thalen over the past 2 years or so. She's teaching you about the weave and magic. She's saying the weave is a network that connects things, all things, living, dead. Magic is simply controlling the weave. It is manipulating it to whatever school you're trying to use. Evocation is causing it to move into one of the elements. Transmutation changes its form. Illusion makes it appear something it isn't. Divination, the magic we study, is about using the weave to read a person's past, present, future, and intentions. Much like the water rushing over you now, feel the weave in everything and control it. I'd like you to simply just make an Arcana check for me right now.
Believe it or not, I'm quite good at that.
And as you hear this lesson that you've heard many a time, you understand exactly what she means. You do feel a connection to everything around you at all times. This weave, the magic that she speaks of, you feel it. And as you complete some small exercises, some casting of spells, Thalen says, "Let us take a break. It is an important day for you tomorrow." And you guys step out of the stream.
Miss Thalen, I actually had a question for you.
Ask away, my child.
It's funny, actually, you brought up divination and knowing people's pasts and the future and knowledge. What I've been doing some reading on this, this Master of Mages thing. I think it's best prepared if I know properly what I'm doing. Something is not making sense to me. Why is there this 100-year gap? What is this black mark? I've read through hundreds of books on it. I can't find any information on what is this seemingly blotch in time. There's every other ritual was passed on by the person. It shouldn't even be you here, should it?
Make me an insight check, please.
Fuck you, Thalen.
On an 18, as you say these words, you've asked this question a few times and you've never got a clear answer. So the purpose of you asking this question wasn't to get a clear answer, was to see how she reacted to this question, to try and pick up on her facial expressions and things. And as you look at her, and as you say these words, at the mention of the previous Master of Mages, Thalen's eyes are filled with a sadness. You know that there is some emotion there, that she was there when everything happened, whatever it was that happened, and she feels sad at the mention. And as you watch her facial expression change at the asking of the question, she quickly regains her composure and says, "GILDOR, how many times must I say the past in this situation is irrelevant? You don't need to know. It has rightfully been scrubbed from the annals of history. Please, do not ask me again." And she, you can see now that she is not expecting you to follow up, and she almost dares you to, because she is angry at the thought of having to remind herself of the previous Master of Mages and why there is some gap of 100 years.
In any other circumstance, GILDOR would not talk back to an elder, especially someone like Thalen, but in the same vein as kind of working out for himself that he is having information kept from him, especially about the old Master of Mages, he also knows that every other Master of Mages got a lot longer training and sort of being given time than he has. Like, they all got 30, 40, 50, 60 years, and he's been kicked down the road way quicker than that. So I'm going to push the label and say, well, miss, if you're not going to give me an answer on that, then permit me this. Why have I constantly got to learn divination? I'm a wizard. There are 6 other tribes out there. I would love to be able to conjure an animal or transmutate the earth. Even necromancy has a use. Why?
At the mention of necromancy, she slams her fist into the sandy dust around, and around you is just this broiling sandstorm. Pebbles start to rise up, fling around. You have to cover your head to stop yourself getting pelted in the eyes and face by the small bits of sand and pebbles. And she says, do not mention that despicable art in my presence. You want to know why you're not learning other branches of magic? Because there isn't time, goddammit. And she slams her fist down again and the sand drops around her. There isn't time. The people of Xehith need stability. For 100 years, we have had no one to look to. The tribes have become independent. There has been points of conflict and contention. Relations are not good. She then breathes again and places her hand on your shoulder and says, this lack of stability has left us isolated and weak. And soon, that weakness may get exploited. The Master of Mages will unite the people. That is something we desperately need. Tomorrow is a huge day. Everything rides on you. You have to be good enough. You have to be wise enough to lead. You have to. You see a single tear starts to drop down her eye. And she wipes it away and says, listen, tomorrow's a big day. Go. Prepare. Understand the consequences of what is going on right now. Understand the importance of your role. And she turns and begins to walk away.
Triple G stands there for a bit, just soaking in that conversation. And I think the fucking unfairness and the sort of cruelty of Triple G actually wants to learn. He wants to train and be a good wizard and learn about things, but not forced down this one like broken, narrow, divinatory only path. Like it's got to be of his own volition, not just shoved and forced by tradition and all of this shit about the weave. It's just a bit too much. So I'm gonna again find familiar and bring Raymond back out and slip a note from out of my pocket and say, Raymond, it's time, mate. We leave tonight. Remember the plan. Leave this outside our tent and then come meet me by the tree. And I'm gonna give Raymond the note, give him a little scratch, and sort of next to the waterfall under a bush, I've got, there's fuck all in it, but it's a bag of like a water skin, and my cloak is in there, and just the barest shit. I have no possessions anyway, and I sprint off towards the meeting place.
Okay, do you want that note to remain private this time, or should I put it up on screen? It's up to you.
You can put that note up on screen if you like.
No worries. So you
Oh, Raymond, go!
And Raymond runs off, note in mouth, darting through the little bushes and small little shrubs surrounding the riverbed, and leaves it just outside her tent. Meets you, you grab your bag, and you head off. And now we come back to the present day at the bonfire around the leaders, and Valandor Shiro speaks up and says, leaders of all of the tribes, I know it has been some time since we all met. I understand at the moment every clan is there for itself, but these adventurers have travelled a long way and need hearing out. They speak of dangers in the Mortuous clan. Something is happening. Something bigger than just the tribes of Xehith. Something that could affect the entire world. They've requested counsel. I thank you for your time. I hand it over to them. And she points back to you guys now. And you guys all step into the centre of this.
I'll look to Triple G first, because obviously we know that he's from here, and can I make an insight check on
you
Triple
can
G, please?
On Triple G? Of course you can.
I'm trying to figure out if he wants to step up here or not. I'll give him a look, kind of inviting him to. And I want to see what his reaction is as to whether or not he wants to speak in front of his people.
Yeah, cool. Roll insight. I would say from that, Triple G, make me a panic attack roll.
Thank you, JAFF. D20.
Yeah. He's hard to read, but he looks like he's composed. I would say that it gives off the aura of a man who is ready to speak at a moment's notice. I mean, you could tell me if what kind of vibe. The inside track's not amazing, but you can tell he's composed.
I'll go to step forward and then I'll hesitate ever so slightly, just giving him basically a chance to step forward if he wants to.
Mr. John Pierre, I need a favour, mate.
Yeah, of course.
I need you to slap me in the face and get me going. This is it. This is it.
I'll look at him confused ever so slightly for a second, and then I will somewhat subtly from the rest of the people kind of looking over at us, just kind of pat him on the shoulder and then give him a quick little like slap on his cheek.
I immediately turn around to Yeg and say, Mr. Yeg, what is it you play? Is it a band? What is it? Is it a lyre or a banjo?
It's a lute.
Mr. Yeg, get the loot ready. We're going up, and I'm going to walk out, pull my hood down, and go, everyone! And I hope that Yeg is playing his lute to sort of like, you know, herald my appearance.
Yeah, I'll start playing Free Fallen by Tom Petty.
Cool. Make a performance check. Make a performance check.
Bang.
Oh, go on.
It's almost regal, your entrance. It's like a WWE walkout at this point. Like the music, the music actually like makes the flames brighter and larger as you walk out, and it's almost like little pyrotechnics going off as you walk through. And the flickering of the flames sort of illuminates the cave as you walk out. Is your hood stood up at this point, or have you pulled your hood down?
The hood has got to be down. I'm in the middle of the open, out in the open, hood down, in front of Yeg, who's bussing a tune.
Mm-hmm.
As you stand in front of the leaders of all the different tribes, hood down, your Master of Mages tattoos on show for everyone, there is instant recognition, and I would say you look around at all of the leaders. Are you keeping tabs on anyone in particular, or are you just walking out as you
I, as someone who travelled very little, don't care about anyone else in any other tribe because I know that I won't have much chance recognising them. I just want to see if I can see Thalen or my mum and my dad because I don't want to look at them when I'm talking.
You only see Thalen. Your parents aren't around. It is simply there is only one person from every tribe, which is the tribe leader. So your parents, despite being a relatively high-standing family, your parents aren't there. It is just Thalen.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll sort of step out and go, everyone, it was me who gathered you here. I've not got any long, inspiring speech. I'm here to free this place and you people. It's as simple as that. My life has been ruled by tradition and heritage, and I can see in some of your eyes that the same has happened in your villages too. It's driven us apart so much so that we now have a tribe of necromancers that have cut off from our country and they're ready to destroy anyone and anything at a moment's notice. We did this to ourselves. I couldn't give a shit if I'm the Master of Mages or not, but I'm here to make magic whole again. It's not 7 different tribes doing 7 different things. It should be one country, one people, and one way of being a wizard to embrace the weave and everything in it. That's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it with my friends. And my fucking razor! And I'm going to have Raymond pop out on top of my head and go...
I would say make me a just basic charisma check with advantage. Charisma number. Cool.
That's huge. I've only made a speech and everything.
As you walk out, immediately people go to like speak and shout and clamour in like you could tell that they're almost offended that you've shown up in this place after 2 years, you know, and you don't even try to explain your way out of it. But they see this passion that they like, especially Thalen sees this passion from you that she's never seen before. You know, you're usually quite a meek, subdued character, speak only when spoken to. You know, barring a few little outbursts on your last day, she was very much used to you listening rather than talking. And to see you walk out with this bravado, this strength of character, she sort of hushes everyone who go to interrupt you. And as you finish your speech, she says, "The timing is most strange." And she sort of looks up out of the thing, and you see, actually looking out, that the constellation of the LOUIE, although not quite fully realized yet, it's getting closer, and you realize now for the first time in God knows how long you are approaching the convergence of threads. And she says, "It has been a while, GILDOR, Gilgalad. Have you nothing to say for yourself? Have you nothing to say for the abandonment of your duties, of your tribes, of this tradition that you seem to not hold so dear to your heart, that has kept us together and whole for thousands of years, for thousands of generations since the dawn of time? Have you nothing to say at all? Not even a sorry?"
Fuck no, I'm not fucking sorry. Fuck you. No, I'm joking. I wouldn't say fuck you. I'm not sorry. Why would I be sorry? We can't go on like this. What, you want me to just learn divination? What is the weave to you? And I sort of point up at the sky at this. Did you say the convergence is sort of like you can now sort of see the stars aligning as they were on the night of?
Yeah, you make an intelligence check. It's close. Like, it's not today, but it's approaching. You know, you're probably only 3, maybe 4 days out from the convergence of threads. Like, you haven't really been keeping track of time since you've been away, but you're very close to the actual day of the convergence of threads.
Okay, well, I've pointed up at the stars now, so for dramatic purposes, I hope they look somewhat like the weave.
They do.
Yep, we can tell.
Thank God. And I say, what is magic to you? Is it all sunshine and rainbows? Is it all divination? Is that it? Why does necromancy exist? Why does transmutation exist? I've seen Mistra. I've been within a sliver's touch of the weave. It's the same as nature. Just because plants and trees are beautiful, but then baby lambs are slaughtered by owlbears, what is nature then not beautiful? They're one and the same. It's the same thing. All magic is magic, and as soon as we accept that, we can move forward as a country.
She smiles at what you're saying, and she says, "Your sentiment is lovely, but your sentiment is that of a young child still. Magic is beautiful. Magic is ugly. Magic is peace, and magic is danger. All of these things can and are true, but when you lead a tribe of people, magic is a way of protecting a way of life and keeping a people safe. And for thousands and thousands of years, that has been the duty of the Master of Mages. You were chosen to do such a thing, and you abandoned your duties. You abandoned your destiny." Make an insight check for me as she says those words.
Insight.
You're not sure if this is just from the raw emotion, from the anger, from whatever, but as she says those words, you don't know if she 100% believes what she's saying. You don't know exactly what part she might have a hard time believing, but you know that some of the words she said there have been performative and have not been 100% the things that she believes.
I'm gonna just look at her. I've turned completely away from the crowd, and I'm just looking at her, and I say, "Thalen, I've had enough of your fucking crystal ball bullshit. You know what? I might be completely wrong. I might be making a mistake, but at least it'll be my mistake and not what you told me. And at least I'll be doing it with my fucking friends." And I point to the boys.
I'll give off a little cheer as he does that.
Well, we can debate semantics of the necessity of tradition another time. You say there's a danger coming towards us. I would admit, when gazing into the fires and gazing at the stars, I have seen ill omens. And she turns now to look at the guys behind. She doesn't recognize you, ZARLOK, but she looks at JAFF and YEG, even with her blind eyes. She just has a knowing eye, knowing of your presence. And she says, "Well, I think I spoke about the growing omens when I saw you guys at the Lundus Crest Festival. We saw the eclipse that evening, and I mentioned how it it would lead to dark, foreboding times. It seems that I'm not the only one who shares this sentiment. So, explain why you've returned and why you are here, why you've sought counsel with us.
Well, so before we now sort of war counsel this, what information do we have about mortars? So you sort of alluded to it at the start. We know about the shadow glass. We know that they're. Is it right that they're building something there?
No, so what you remember is, well, from between the four of you, because some people have different information from different parts of the campaign, people may or may not have been here, but between the four of you, you know that they were mining shadow glass in Mortuous. You know, that's where a lot of it resides, in the Ebony Sands. Usually for you, GILDOR, you know that in the Ebony Sands beneath the volcano in Mortuous, they are mining. There's a huge deposit of shadow glass.
We were also all told that it was, one of the biggest kind of deposits of shadow glass in our known world, basically.
Yeah, in the continent of Egros, you know for sure it's one of the biggest deposits of shadow glass. You know that shadow glass was being mined from when you guys escaped the prison. You know that's where a lot of prisoners were sent to work in the mines to produce it.
Yeah.
You don't know as of yet what the purpose of this shadow glass is, only that there were traces of it also found at Emberfield. When you dealt with the triumvirate, there were traces of shadow glass there. That at the moment is sort of your knowledge of everything going on there.
I now sort of step back in, so we're all kind of closer together. It's the four of us, and like how many villages? Can you put the map on the screen, please?
Valandor is not stepped in with you. He's left you guys sort of to take center stage.
Valandor, back me up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are 9 leaders here right now.
Yeah.
Everyone except Mortars, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So it's us. So it's not a huge crowd, right? That's perfect. I essentially relay that it's come to our attention that they are mining shadow glass, and I don't divulge entirely all of our travels. Like the killings in Emberfield and the shit that the other boys, YEG and JAFF, have been through, but. Yeah, I emphasise that shadow glass is being mined, and everybody in this country knows that shadow glass is not to be meddled with, full stop. And we can't leave that.
At the mention of the Mortuous tribe, there is a sense of unease and conflicts between the different leaders. At this point so far, most of the leaders haven't really spoken up too much. They've sort of interjected with clamours of, especially when you first reappeared, with angry sort of shouts, but there's not really been too much of a discussion between them. And at this point, you see different leaders start to shout over each other. And the essence of the almost argument is some clans are of the belief that the Mortuous tribe is too dangerous and will lead to too many casualties if they are ever stood up to, in a sense. Some acknowledge the fact that they do need to be stood up to, and this may be their best ever chance. But throughout all of this discussion between the two sets of tribes, is two people stay very silent. One of them is Fallon, and the other one is a elven lady who is actually, all of the other people are wearing robes, very, very classic wizards, which like attire, robes and necklaces, and they have gems, whereas this woman is wearing armor, like plate armor, beautiful silver plate armor with this sort of golden yellow filigree design around it. I'd actually say if anyone would like to make a religion check, they're more than welcome to.
Bang.
Religion.
Everyone is allowed to, yeah.
ZARLOK.
Oh.
Well done, boys.
It's the -1, so it appeals 0.
ZARLOK, you are certain that whatever this symbol is. This symbol, by the way, is like a quarter moon, like a very thin golden crescent moon sort of symbol with small little stars sort of coming out. Zarlok, you're convinced this is actually the moon, and you're like certain that is the physical moon has been converted from the sky into this woman's chest. The rest of you, I would say Gildor, because even though it's an awful role, you are aware that this is the symbol of Corellon, who is the god of elves, the patron god of elves. And just from the way she's dressed, you're assuming that this is a paladin of Corellon. Actually, to be fair, Jaff, you should actually have a need to roll, because you actually recognise this from a person in your past. She wore very similar armour with a similar crest on it. Maybe you don't have a understanding of who the god is, but you recognise the armour and the symbol. Yeah. But yeah, that person and Fallon have stayed silent during this argument as different tribes. You know, you see the large Vulmavauren saying, "Those of the those of the Initius tribe are focused on defense. We should not attack. We should stay here and fortify our own defenses. As long as they stay over there, they won't be a problem." Valandor of the Manti tribe and a lady of the Crepit tribe are saying, "We're powerful, we're strong, we can go and defeat them. Now is our chance. You know, we can't let them keep doing their thing." And throughout all of this, Fallon and this other lady have stayed quiet.
And I would like to make this. This may have to end up being 2 rolls, because this is I'm asking for a lot in one roll here. But I would like to make an insight check, and what I'm looking for is one who in the crowd is most swayable, because whoever we get on our side, like strength in numbers. And also, I would like to make an insight check on this woman with the paladin armor to see, is she staying quiet because she disagrees? Is she staying quiet because she doesn't know what to say? Or is she staying quiet because she's choosing to, well, not just stay quiet, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let's do the first one, the insight of people. So when you say people who easily swayed, are you looking to see...
I'm looking to see who here, or is it that apparent with all the shouts and stuff like, oh, well, that like this tribe are clearly in on the...
Make your insight check. I'll see what you get out of it. Okay, on a 25, you can tell. So you know all of the tribes. So you know there is the loudest people on either side. On the 4 attacking side, the 4 going to do it are the Crepit tribe, which is a lady called Arafina Visoran.
What do the Crepits specialise in?
Evocation. And the Manti tribe, which is led by Valandor, who are the blade singing. The people that are more anti going to fight, you can see on the stronger side there are the Thatius tribe, which is Jasin Valra Man, who is they're the school of illusion magic, and as well the Aedifica tribe, which are the transmutation mages. The other people seem to be a bit more on the fence. They're not. They have opinions either or, but they seem a lot less. They seem a lot more likely to be they would respond to some sort of swaying and convincing either way. You know, they seem a bit more on the fence kind of vibes, a bit like me is in real life.
I am going to.
Sorry, you want to make your second one as well on the other lady?
No, I'm actually going to do something different.
Okay.
I'm going to cast Detect Thoughts on her.
Okay.
My spell DC save is 15.
Okay, so immediately you get surface thoughts, regardless of save, I'm assuming, correct? To make sure I'm reading that properly. The surface thoughts you're getting, there is conflict in her mind as to whether she should act out of emotion for herself personally or out of her tenets and her oaths. That's the surface thoughts you get. You don't know whether she seems at odds with herself, whether or not she should go with what she is taught to believe in or what she's feeling at this present moment. You're allowed to probe deeper if you would like.
The thing is, if I fail and she realises I've cast Detect Thoughts on her, I could just lose her
all credibility.
Completely. Oh, fuck it. I can't push deeper. We might end up needing this girl. She got a full named armor. We can't lose her now. Okay.
So who is this? Who is this one?
We don't really know. She's just
You
not
know her.
anything.
You know her as Ciara Minora, leader of the Aradok tribe. I'll leave the map up just so you can see names.
Yeah, can you leave the map up? Thank you.
Yeah, just to leave to.
While all of this kind of shouting and whatnot is going on, can I kind of slip back from the rest of our group and can I circle around towards we're gonna go for the Cressida tribe, which is kind of not particularly for or not particularly against. And while kind of Triple G is in the middle, kind of looking around as people are shouting and hasn't kind of done anything yet, I'm gonna slip around to this tribe, which is kind of on the fence-ish, and I'm just gonna kind of explain to them. I'm gonna say, look, from what we've seen in Azureth, the problems that are forming there, without going into too much detail, I'll explain that the Emberfield specifically was taken over by this very oppressive government that was subjecting its people. They were starving, they were hungry. It took the people rising up and a lot of help on our end as well as other people to liberate that city. Is this really what you want for the great nation of Xehith? Do you want to sit idly by while the rest of your country falls to ruin?
Make a persuasion check.
Fuck!
Are we? The world hasn't. Not the world. Xehith. It's not. No one's descended into fighting yet. We're discussing whether or not we begin a kind of not skirmish, but skirmish.
Yes, correct. Yeah, we're discussing whether attacking Morse is a good idea.
I'm following. Okay. Can I go and can I watch him fuck up and go and save him? and
yes, you can. I would say you.
Can I get the help action on that then?
I would say because it was announced afterwards, because you gave it him, because you rolled in that one, the DC to save him will be a 20. So you can make a persuasion check of your own. You can narrate it as you want, and then the persuasion check at the end of it.
I think, as I see him bomb his explanation somehow, I'm gonna just butt in and say, we've been through this enough that the wars you win have to be fought before the war has even started. So we need to get in there and get going and mobilize.
I love that. I love that. Yes!
Yes! Let's fucking go.
So as you approach this elven man, he's very classic elvenly, the way he looks like. Think proper classic Lord of the Rings. Tall, pointy ears. He's got long black hair and a very like stuck up kind of face. And he looks down at you because you are quite a short dragonborn and he's a rather tall elf. He says, "You are a wise sage, young one. Sometimes to win the war, you must stop it from even happening. You must win the wars before the wars even begin."
Amen, brother.
He sort of gives you a curt nod, and you see his stance sort of shifts, and he starts backing up the decrepit people, for example, during this thing.
I'll slip off away from there, mate.
You fucking hero! What a roll! I'll
give Yeg a big slap on the shoulder.
I'm just gonna. I'm reading the room. Everyone's looking at me, and everyone's like happy, and I'm like, okay, I'm just not gonna say another thing just in case.
I turn to Zarlok and say, "Mate, what do you reckon? What do you think about all this? You're clearly deep in thought about all this."
He's over there eating sausage rolls.
I want to fucking fight someone.
Right, okay.
There we go, Zarlok's back.
Thank you, mate. I always knew I could have your help, and I give Zarlok a little like cuddle. Right, Yeg. I mean, that was so well put, and I am at the end of my tether with this. So I'm going to let you take. I don't know how to sway the tribes. I'm clearly too controversial. All seriousness now, I'm clearly too controversial to be the swinging factor here. So, like, one of you guys sort of push.
How many are on the fence now?
It looks now that there is a majority towards going to fight. It's not an obvious majority. It's probably something like 5 to 4.
But we do outnumber them, yeah.
You do outnumber them. Here's 9, they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Well, I mean,
it's probably about 5 to 4. I think right now the people against fighting are. Let me just go through it. Are Fascius, F4, 4 to 3, and you have no idea what Concilius and Aridok are doing at the moment because they've not said anything.
So shit.
Aridok and Concilius haven't said a word during any of this. Manti, Crepit, now obviously Presida, and Initius, those 4. So Crepit, Manti, Initius, and Presida are all 4. Everyone apart from Concilius and Aridok are against, and those 2 are currently unknown. I'll make a little note actually, just so I can.
As I'm walking away from the Presida people with YEG, I'll say I think we have the majority now. I say we suggest to them a vote.
I think that's a good idea.
What do you think, ZARLOK?
Xehith is this? It's very democratized. I feel like you each do your own thing, and then everyone's come here, and we're all deciding. Feels like votes work here.
I think voting would probably be
the best.
Here.
We've literally told them all the information we know, and some people have just been pricks.
All those in favour of cracking on, say aye. And I'm raising my hand, and I'm like, it's like I'm calling to everyone.
Oh, sorry. So you to the group currently now, or to all the leaders as well?
To everyone, a vote.
To everyone. So
I'll put my hand up as well.
Yes, yeah. All
as you say this, Valandor Shiro pulls out his sword. It's the first time you've seen his sword. You've seen him travel with you, but you've not really had to use it at any point. And he pulls out. It's almost impossibly thin. Think needle from Game of Thrones, but obviously a lot longer. Pulls it out. He stabs it into the ground, and he says, "You have my sword, and all of the swords of the Manti tribe."
Love that. Love you guys.
Arafina Visoran of the Crepit tribe conjures in her hands like a little ball of flame, and sort of uses it to sort of melt the sand at her feet, and just like she's now like surrounded by a ring of fire. And she says, "You have the support of the Crepit tribe."
Always knew you would.
Sontar and Yaris of the Predator tribe who you spoke to earlier, he comes up and he says, "I will follow the wise Dragonborn into battle."
I appreciate the kind words.
The Initius tribe, the Volmar Valrin, conjures a small like fire mephit on his shoulder and says, "As will we."
Right on.
At this point, the Fatius tribe, a male named Jasin Valra, who's the illusory person, who at the moment, Jasin Valra, the female, I've written that wrong on my notes. Yeah, she's beautiful at this moment, but then brings a hand down over her face, and as the fan passes her face, becomes a rather fat and ugly version of the same, similar facial features, but just uglier. And her body is now larger and wrinkly and saggy in places.
I nudge ZARLOK and say, "Better you that, mate."
Jasin says, "A vote would be against violence." And at this,
respectfully, violence will be coming no matter what.
At this point, the Aedifica and the F4 tribes nod in agreement, saying, "We don't believe violence is the best option. We should focus on fortifying our defences." Sorry, go on.
What do the 3 tribes that have said no, what do they specialise in?
So Aedifica is transmutation, F4 is enchantment, and Fatius is illusion.
We could do that, couldn't we?
So at this point, it's 4 to 3 with 2 places not to vote. Ciara Minora, the Elven paladin in her armor, takes a deep breath and says, "I have my reasons to wanting to go to Mortius, but the oath of a paladin of Corellon is to forego violence when possible, and I believe violence may not be the answer. However, I believe in the power of people. I shall abstain for now. However, If I see a majority wish to go fight, I will journey with you, me and my tribe, and perhaps look for guidance on the journey. Fallon of the Concilious tribe has been deadly silent this entire time. If anyone would like to make an insight check, you're more than welcome to before she speaks.
She's rattled me.
Yeg, you're someone who has read stories, written stories, played songs and created songs. You're a man of writing and understanding emotion. And you've read and written stories that are tragic, that are comedic, that have romance involved, that are action, that are scary. You've covered all sorts of emotions in your writings. And you look at the face of Fallon, and you see the face of a woman struggling with heartbreak. As she composes herself, she says, "We shall fight too." And she turns and she looks to the leaders of the Fatuous, Aedifica, Ethel, and Aradok tribe and says, "We looked for 100 years for a Master of Mages to unite us. We found the Master of Mages. Mystra chose him for us. Yes, he left. Yes, he spits on the face of tradition. But here he is now, trying to unite us once more. And you would turn your back on him? Have you forgotten the oaths you all swore to both your tribe and to the kingdom of Xehith itself? Shame on you." And at this, the leaders of these tribes start to sort of look down at their feet and twiddle their thumbs. And they start to murmur under their breath. And they look up and they say, "I guess it's not 9 tribes going to fight Mortius. I guess it's the kingdom of Xehith." And they all raise their fists in the air and sort of cheer.
That's
Fuck yes. Yes! That's what's up.
that is powerful.
You see, Valandor Shiro, by the way, is very like he goes against sort of the what an elf usually looks like, and is like he's muscly, he's like strong, he's very doesn't look he looks very agile and dexterous, but he's strong, he's big, he's wearing lightweight clothing, sort of more like sports attire than anything, rather than the sort of magic robes everyone else is wearing. And he just starts going, "Hoorah! Hoorah! Hoorah!" like chanting, and like the other more refined ladies and gentlemen of the tribe leaders sort of look at it with a bit of confusion, but some of them start to like sort of join in very half-heartedly with little "Hoorah! Hoorah!" And as the crowd sort of simmers down, Fallon looks to you and says, "So, do I call you Gildor or do I call you Master of Mages?"
You can call me Gildor.
So, Gildor and your companions, what's the plan?
Just to start, this is Yeg. He
You're right.
he
Hold on
plays
a handshake.
the lute. This is JAFF. He doesn't talk much.
I'll kind of just bow my head ever so slightly.
And this is ZARLOK.
At JAFF, you notice Ciara has like a recognition in her eyes and a slight curt nod, but doesn't say anything.
I'll just kind of ignore that for now.
Cool.
And this is ZARLOK.
I'm gonna like nod my head backwards and just go,
And then creeping out, peering their heads behind ZARLOK is Snow and Ganfal. And they say,
Yeah!
Hey, the boys.
Cheers for the backup, lads.
I'll turn to Snow and Ganfell and be like, "Thanks, guys. You were really good in the middle of that. I'm really appreciative."
I turn around.
of both
Fist
of
bump. Fist bump.
you. Give him a big hug and a kiss as well while I'm at it.
Gildor, JAFF, ZARLOK, Yeg, Snow, and Ganfal. What is the plan?
I'll turn to Triple G and ask if he minds me taking the lead ever so slightly on this.
Oh, please. I didn't even want to. I had to take the lead. Yes, no, boys. The ball's back in our court now. Let's think of a plan.
So I'll explain to both of them that essentially we don't really know what we're walking into. We don't know what the Mortuous tribe is like there, what kind of like place this is that we'll be walking into. We just know that we need to learn more about what they're up to with the Shadow Glass, and we need to know why it's turning up left, right, and centre in Azureth. It seems to be that they are, based on everything, looking to expand, looking to kind of wage war generally, and they seem to be funding that across the continent. And we just know they need to be stopped, but basically we need a little bit of information from them in terms of what exactly we'll be walking into when we get to Mortuous before we can form some kind of battle plan.
The leaders sort of murmur and discuss things amongst them, and after a few, 10, 15 seconds of discussions, they say, to be honest, we also know little about Mortuous. It's the Ebony Sands are not really a place we've mapped out very well. And, well, the rest of us aren't exactly welcome there. That tribe has been on its own for generations, but ever since the Master of Mages, and this is Wolmavar speaking at the moment, and he catches himself before he carries on saying what he's about to say, and says, ever since we've been without a Master of Mages, they've been even more isolated. As they continue their sort of discussions, Fallon will once again speak up and say, I did say the timing was most strange. How about we try something new, something we never got to do during our lessons?
Honestly, I have no right to ask you, but I was going to ask you, could you scry on them? But if you have a better idea, I'm all ears, and I know that I respect if you say no.
She says, well, I'll be totally honest with you. I have tried to scry on Mortuous before. The leader of that tribe is an evil necromancer named Vilgefortz. And he is
Slow down. Please slow down ever so slightly. I'm really sorry. How do you? What was his name?
Vilgefortz. Vilgefortz. Vilgefortz.
Okay, sorry, carry on.
Close.
Yeah, he is extremely powerful and well versed in all types of magic. And
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
She ignores that comment and says, I have previously tried to scry on him and on Mortuous in general, but there is powerful magic stopping that from happening. However, there is a more ancient magic that we may be able to use. And she points to the bonfire behind and says, let us try and fire gaze together. I know it's something you've never done before. Hell, it's something that most people can't do. But at this time, we're close to the convergence of threads. Magic is amplified around us at this moment. We can, perhaps the two of us can try and break through his defenses.
The sexual tension is crazy.
Fallon is like 2,000 years old.
Gildor throws up in his mouth a little bit.
Zarlok's gonna go sit down against a rock. Fucking clue. So he's gonna listen from afar.
Thanks for your support, Zarlok. I mean, I don't think it's either we go in completely blind or we try every option we have. Let's fucking do it.
So, as you agree, the leaders of the other tribes sort of go out. One of them actually runs off just out of the cave towards the actual tribe of people, and a few moments later returns your father, holding the same ceramic pot
Oh shit!
Not
from
this prick.
2 years ago. He clearly wasn't briefed that you were there, whoever went to go pick him up, because as he walks into the cave mouth and sees you, there is a visible shock on his face. But he composes himself rather quickly, and he heads over with the ceramic pot that the sacred flame sits within, and tries to not make eye contact with you.
I am completely ignoring that he's there.
He very sheepishly, with a lot less grandeur and composure than he did in the flashback 2 years ago, shakily removes the lid of the pot, places his hand inside them without the theatrics of holding it out. People just sort of picks it up and just sort of dashes the fire into the other bonfire as it takes control. And Fallon beckons you over. People clear out to give you some space, and she extends her hand out for you to hold and says, "Hold my hand. I will try and guide us through using the fire as our connection to the weave. Just help amplify with your innate spellcasting powers."
I want to, before I hold her hand, I want to like beckon ZARLOK, JAFF and YEG over, and I want to, with one hand, hold on to YEG, who is holding on to ZARLOK, who is holding on to JAFF, and with the other hand, hold her almost like a chain, and I want to look at my dad in the eyes so he knows that I've only been gone 2 months and already I am becoming my own person and making my own friends and doing things for myself.
So make an insight check for me real quick.
No.
From that, you look, and your dad does seem like nervous and a bit on edge that you've come back. You also see that he doesn't seem to care with friends and that you've improved. But you do notice that Fallon looks at you with a smile on her face, looking at the fact that you have these friends.
I'm very hesitant to do it, but I will go over and join in on this because I can see what's going on with Triple G here.
So as you all stand there, sort of connecting together, Fallon and you, when Fallon starts to speak the ancient elven rituals, and you start to sort of, after a few times of her chanting it, you work out what she's saying and you join in with her, and the rest of you sort of try and stay as quiet as possible and just be in the moment. The fire begins to change like it did 2 years ago, but much less violently. It is a very calm transition. It's not these flashes of colours and these big broiling flames that fly up into the sky. It's a calm gradient shift from orange slowly to red, slowly around and around to these different colours. Much more calm, much more peaceful. All of you, your eyes sort of glaze over and you're no longer looking through your eyes. You're now high up into the sky, through the clouds, travelling. And as you travel and travel and travel, you start to zoom in onto a big volcano. These people aren't there. Sputtering magma with these rivulets of this lava trickling down the side. As you zoom closer and closer and closer, you don't see from the exterior anything apart from volcano. No entrance, no signs of life. As you travel through closer to the volcano, you disappear through the volcano into the interior and you see black stone, this sort of igneous rock, not the shadow glass, this is just igneous rock, like basalt and porous pumice stone, trickle through hallways and staircases, ups and downs. And then you see from the exterior a large pyramid, a ziggurat to be precise, this tiered pyramid with steps going up, surrounded by green spectral beings, is all you could really tell for the moment. And then you travel up the staircase through, and you see a hooded elf, features covered, standing with his hands on an altar, and it hovers there, and it stops, and you realise that this is all you can really see. You now realise, Gildor. Make an Arcana check for me.
That map is fucking sick, by the way. Hang on.
You realise that at the start of this sort of divinatory ritual, Fallon was in control. She was the one guiding it. She was the one controlling where it moved to. And at this point, she has finished and she's trying to pull away. But she can't, because now you are in control. You are the one that has the control and the desire of this ritual, and you're flooded with this innate feeling of right now, you can get answers. You have the ability to look through the past, the present, possibly even the future. You can ask questions you didn't know the answer to. Don't know how long you have control over this ancient ritual. You don't know how you even did gain control. You only realize that now, for however long you have, you can use this fire-gazing ritual, this ancient ritual of Urlith, to answer questions.
I would like to try in the best way possible to glean any information on what is it that is breaking Thalen's heart. Why is it that what is it that she's hiding from, well, all of us at this point?
So as you focus on the emotion that comes from Thalen, you realize at this point that this heartbreaking emotion has only intensified as you've began to try and divine about Vilgefortz. And you realize now this connection you have holding her hand in your friend's hands, you are all connected right now through the threads of the weave. And you feel right now, although there is you can't see anyone else. You only see yourself. You can't see Yeg standing next to you anymore. You're only looking through your own eyes in front of you. But you know, just from your connection right now, that Fallon is looking at this hooded figure with the most complex of emotions. Love, longing, heartbreak, betrayal. And you realize that the heartbreak she's feeling has been caused by this person, Vilgefortz. I'd now like you to make a intelligence saving throw for me. You are able to maintain a connection to this fire-gazing ritual. You can still ask questions. However, you feel something pushing against it. And make one more Arcana check for me. You feel this resistance is coming. This someone that's trying to break this connection isn't coming from Vilgefortz, isn't coming from you yourself and having a not so innate ability to use it. It's coming from Fallon. She is scared of the fact that you might get answers to questions that you have been kept from. And she's actively trying to break this connection you have to this fire-gazing ritual at the moment. But luckily with that save, you currently still have control.
I have a question. I don't know if it will gain an answer, but
I would say before you ask it, make just a general intelligence. Actually, you know this. You know as a diviner that it's always easier to divine answers to things that you have a connection to. For example, if you were trying to find out information about yourself or, Fallon or any of the guys here, it's easy. Whereas if you're trying to understand information about someone that you, like a random person from thousands of miles away you had no connection with, it's much harder to do that. So
that is what my original question was Fallon related, because I knew I was connected to that. Is this person that Fallon is looking at and is experiencing these emotions of the former Master of Mages?
As you're looking at this hooded figure who is keeping his features covered, through your eyes you see the hooded robes he wears start to phase translucent to a transparent, ethereal. They're still on him, but they're almost invisible now. As you look at him, you notice a man with the same tattoos that you have. They are different in the sense that yours are very precise and beautiful and elegant. His almost look like they've been drawn on with like a thick needle. and they are faded in places. They are not perfect, beautiful. These, like, yours are very straight lines or very elegant curves. His are rough, jagged, zigzaggy. You know, they're not really connected up properly. The same symbols and things are all on him, but they are corrupted in a sense. But yes, you can deduce from that this was the previous Master of Mages.
Oh my days.
Make another intelligence saving throw for me.
Oh
DC,
yeah.
The DC now is 15. The freeze level's 10, is now 15.
Oh, it's huge.
You can still maintain connection.
Fuck, I'm running out of questions. Is this person... I
will say, you are not, like... You do not only have to ask questions about this person. You can ask questions about anyone or anything. It's not even going to be about a person. You have the ability to basically peer into the past, present, or even possibly future with anyone or anything.
What is the state of what I am looking at? What are they building? Are they building something? Is this a shrine? Is it a fortress? What am I gleaning from even being here present through the fire gazing?
This is what you see. There is these green alchemical spheres filled with something that you can't really make out. Because right now you have a very clouded view of everything outside of what you're looking at. So everything in like this area basically is very clear. Everything outside of that is sort of clouded and blurry because you're not focusing on it. And you don't have the ability to move right now. You are stuck in a position. It's only when you try and ask a question or divine something that you move from where you are.
I mean, I am connected to these three boys, so I am gonna, as much as it is above table and, well, storytelling wise, I did hold on to them. Does anyone have any questions they want me to ask?
I'll say because your detect thoughts is probably still up, you can detect the thoughts of the people around you.
I'm thinking about the volcano as a whole and what our way in here would be.
I'm thinking about my Uncle Des.
I was actually considering asking about Yeg's mum, but then again, I was thinking about Yeg's mum, but again, she's of a completely different plane right now, isn't she? So I don't know if that's a good question to
Well,
ask.
she ain't alive, buddy.
We heard her voice, didn't we?
Well, yeah, no, I heard her voice. But I know her to be Dunzo.
What?
You have no limitation on what you can ask me. You might not get a answer
Super
for everything.
clear, yeah.
What is it that Vilgal Thoughts is actually doing here? What is it that he's doing right now?
You, as in, are you asking that as a question, or are you saying like, what are you seeing him do at this very second in time?
That is my action. I want to take. I want to know what his plan is or what he's doing now. Okay. Basically,
your mind shifts. You're no longer in this room. You see Vilforts. It's not. You're not in any place right now. It seems like this is not something that has happened. This is simply a manifestation of the status quo. The background is this purple, shadowy nothingness. There is no floor. There is no ceiling. There is no walls. There is no environment. You're just in this purple, shadowy nothingness. And you see Vilforts down on one knee, head down. And above him, you see three figures. Their features are covered by some sort of magic that you can't currently pierce through. A tall, humanoid man. A shorter, small race, stocky, like warrior-esque with a big battle axe on his back. And then something whose facial features you can't see. It's probably, again, humanoid size, and you can't really take out any of its details. But poking through the cuffs of his robes, you don't see hands. You see claws, 3-pronged claws, and all you hear coming out of Vilfort's mouth is, "We are on schedule," and it dissipates away.
Okay.
I'd like one more intelligence save. You're now at a DC of 20. You have another question.
Crazy.
What?
Okay. Upon seeing the clawed hands filled inside of my brain that you can fucking detect, is like the clawed hand that was seen before in Emberfield through the scrying eye, and as the vision is kind of directed towards that, suddenly I'm filled with the memory of that clawed hand and the scrying eye.
I mean, you've got to think it's the same, don't you? I'm going to either ask that, what you just said, or I'm going to ask, how did Vilgefortz get to this place? Like, what happened between him and Fallon? I want to ask something that is not attainable to us right now.
Shadowfell is the only other thing.
I want to ask... I know what I'm going to ask. I want to try and obtain any information, whatever. I'm going to imagine in my mind's eye, as much as I physically can, the 3 objects that we are trying to obtain, and see if I can garner any information in this ethereal state of being about where they are or how we achieve getting them.
Great question, Louis. Well done.
Okay. So, again, you're now stuck. Your environment now that you're looking through is this purple ethereal nothingness. Like, there is no end or start to it. It is just a purple, smoky, floorless, ceilingless, wallless environment, almost, as far as the eye can see. And manifesting in front of you, you see the necklace of the skull of Kelemvor that was found by part of your party in Voshal. And you see it is a thick chained necklace with like black metal links that sort of come together. And then the pendant is a small skull made of this black glassy crystal, you know, like almost like a diamond that is completely and utterly black as shadow. And you see that is being worn currently. You don't see by who, you just see it sort of sitting on the chest of someone with a very broad chest. Next, you see a shadowy scape of almost like the interior of a church with a set of wrought iron gates at its edge. Things on the other side of the gate are desperately clawing, trying to get in. And on the side of the gate within this sort of church interior, a ornate grey box made of polished stone with purple inlay and some slight gold detailing. And inside, and the box is sort of half open at this current point, and inside you just see a swirling black shadow that just gives off pure and utter malevolence and evil. There is no structure to it. It does not take on the form of any shape. It is just a swirling black shadow. This box is rather large, by the way. You don't really have too much of a sense of a scale, but you can tell it's big. Like it sits almost, if there's not an altar in this part of the church, but it would be bigger than the altar kind of vibes. Like, and it is this black shadows within swirling around like a mist. And it just gives off pure and evil malevolence. And then the final thing you see is a hellscape, an iron city that is built on this grey basalt delta of just choked smoke, like choked in smoke, red skyscape. There are flying demons of some sort going above. The streets are filled with bone devils and different demons walking around. There is an actual community here. And at the center is this long, tall iron tower. You see within a decadent room. It's like the room of a palace. Everything is detailed in red and golds. There's flaming embers that sort of sit on these torch sconces that illuminate a lavish room. A long table in the center of this almost ballroom. It's that sort of size and it's that sort of design with these red curtains and gold ropes hanging around. And at the center of this long table is a chest with a padlock on it. As you try and scry further into it, there is some hellish magic stopping you from seeing what's in behind. But you do see whatever is inside this chest is what you're trying to divine right now. And it breaks away. One more intelligence saving throw, DC is 25.
Holy shit.
You get to ask one more fucking question. You've managed to hold on. So Fallon is literally at this point though, you realise after that last question, it's not Fallon trying to stop you anymore. She's realised that your focus is now away from also you've uncovered too much for her to stop you anymore. She's not trying to stop you. Something else is. And make an Arcana check for me. You try and reach out using your arcane knowledge, trying to understand what elements of the weave it's sort of building upon to try and stop you. And you realise for a second, this magic that's stopping you doesn't travel through the weave like all other magic does. This magic is old. It is ancient. It predates the gods. You know that the weave was created by Mistra when the gods came into existence. Whatever magic this is predates that. This is old, ancient magic that is trying to stop you, and it is powerful. And you realise right now that you're not sure when, but whatever you know, this thing is also knowing. It's seeing through you at the moment.
With my last question, not now having acknowledged that on my Arcana check, and GILDOR sort of thinking about what he wants from magic and thinking about all those things that he doesn't know about magic that he is desperate to learn, I'm going to reach out to this magic that I feel that is not part of the weave and try and latch onto it and ascertain more information about it. What is it and where is it coming from? Even knowing that this could deeply hurt me.
All right, make an intelligence saving throw. The DC is 25 again.
It's a good run, boys.
You suffer 25 points of psychic damage.
Goodness me.
And you are flung out of your trance. And you are, not only do you feel like the pain, it actually fires you backwards. Your hands let go of Fallon and YEGOR, whoever else's hand you were holding onto at the time. You are flung back a good 10, 15 feet onto the ground. And all you, as you went to go out and touch it, all you felt was pure evil and darkness.
God is shaking and sweating on the floor.
I need to go toilet, so you guys have a little conversation about everything that just happened while I quickly go wee.
Well, I'm going to go over and kind of put my hand on your shoulder, Triple G, and make sure that you're okay. Obviously, we just kind of saw everything that just happened. Whilst JAFF personally doesn't necessarily understand most of the start of that, from what happened at the end, I'll kind of grab you by the shoulder and be like, "Are you okay? What just happened at the end there? Is everything all right?"
Mate, what the fuck was that? That is not part of the weave. That is not known to any wizard or spellcaster walking this fucking earth.
So what you're saying is we're in unprecedented times.
Did that come from Mortuus, or was that something else?
It can't have come from Mortuus. They're a powerful tribe, but even they, necromancy and all its forms are still a part of the weave. That was something different entirely, and I don't know what, but it fucking hurt. I'll give you a clue. At least we got a bit more information. I mean, we now know. So you guys had the skull of Kelenvor stolen off you, didn't you?
We did. We went to the Isle of Vishal, north of Azureth.
Yeah.
I think it's like east of Lythara, and we were there with someone disguised as someone else. And just when we got there, found it, took it from the tomb. It was stolen off us. Now someone else is clearly wearing the pendant from it and is in possession of the skull itself as well. But those other two things, I mean, one's in the Shadowfell, one's in Avernus. There's a chest with something in it, and there's a box with a load of fucking shadows in it.
This is a question for Yan when he does get back, but I remember being told that one of the objects is in the Shadowfell, one's in the Hells, and one is on the mortal plane. Is that right? Did I make that up? Or?
Yes. No. So the Skull of Kalimvor was on the mortal plane. One was in the Shadowfell, and then one was in the Hells somewhere.
Well, at least we have a bit more of a broader picture of what we're actually looking at now.
As you sort of come to, I'm going to say that conversation happened above table, not in character.
Okay.
Because as you come back from this fire gazing ritual, obviously the only people that know what's happened are you guys and obviously Fallon, and the rest of the tribe leaders are all around and they're just discussing, and they see you guys come back. They see you fly back 15 feet and they're like, what? The rest of you guys all come too, and you now see sort of Fallon has locked eyes with you, Gildor, with the sort of knowing understanding of what you now know.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm going to give her a knowing look of like, we need to talk, but I even after everything, I respect her more than to have this in front of the 8 most important people in the country. So I'll message Cantrip her and say we can save that discussion for later. I'm gonna sort of gingerly huddle in close to the 3 boys and say, do we openly share what we just learned, or is that are we risking information exposure there, or do they need to know everything, or do we
I think all we tell them is that we saw the volcano and we saw someone inside of it, and that's it.
I relay that we saw the pyramid inside the volcano, and that must be their base of operations. I'm not going to name him, and I'm not going to give any Fallon backstory on who this guy is, but I'll say that seems to be where the leader of the Mortis tribe is, and at least we now know at least some sort of stronghold information instead of just blindly charging in. We have a location of where we need to be.
So yeah, as you sort of release to everyone, they all the leaders start to speak and say, okay, we understand, blah blah. And the general consensus is from all of the leaders that they are going to use a sending spell to communicate to people back to their village, or their tribe, sorry. Whoever at their tribe that they little let in second command will round up everyone of fighting age ready to go. They will use each of these tribes have their own teleportation circles. They can teleport to each of them. And they are all going to teleport to Concilius, which is where everyone will meet, produce a fighting force, and you will then all head off over to Tumultuous, ready to basically attack.
Amazing.
Now this has been a lot for one night.
Yeah, it's only 9:15. Valandor is sort of taking point as there's a conversation happening about what everyone's role will be on the journey there, as well as sort of during the fighting. So the different mages for the transmutation mages might protect them from the sort of the elements. The paladins will pray for safe passage, and Valandor says that as the Manti are the most, the only true warriors of Xehith, they will lead the vanguard at the front. And now obviously all these sending spells are going off, and you can see off towards in the distance, sort of back towards where the main part of the tribe is. People are sort of popping through these teleportation circles in their droves, and a small fighting force is emerging. And at this point, Fallon, obviously, who is the leader of this tribe, says, "So we will have a day or two journey to Mortuous where we can plan the fight details. For now, let us get a small encampment ready. We will all rest and sleep, and in the morrow we shall travel." Does that sound okay? And she sort of looks around to both all of the leaders and to you guys.
Yeah, it's just one conflict to another.
We seem to find our way here, don't we? We always seem to find our way in the middle of it.
Are we the bad guys? I don't know.
So yeah, you guys all head to the main hub of the tribe, where already there are transmutation mages like building these little ramshackle, almost like igloos, but made out of like a sandstone that they're like casting some spells and shaping the sand and the stone into these small little huts and igloos around, just to give places for people to stay for the evening. You're all sort of sitting now around the fire in a much more casual setting. There's food going around. Some people obviously have been reunited with people from other tribes. They don't get to see that often, and they're having conversations, and it's nice. It's weirdly enough the calm before the storm, and at this point, everyone sort of gets separated, not by any real reason, but some of us goes to get put a bit extra food, so we go over for a little wee or whatever, and you're all sort of on your own, just sort of taking in the sights. And at this point, we're going to have Fallon approach GILDOR. Ciara Minora of the Aradok tribe approaches JAFF. Valandor Shiro approaches ZARLOK. And a young female elf who clearly has come through the portal at some point, or through the teleportation circle at some point, has approached Yeg. And we're going to start off over at Yeg. So what will Yeg be doing? Sort of, he's on his own at this point. Everyone's sort of been mingling around and stuff.
I think I'm consolidating what everyone said, and I'm writing down their names, and then writing down like a pseudonym so that I can write a story about this one day. I'm like Vilgaforce. Like, what can his name be?
Nice. So as you're sort of sitting there scribbling into your notepad, into your book, you see a young elf, as in young in terms of elven years. She's still probably over 100 years old, but to you, she looks like she's in her early to mid 20s. She looks like she's ready to fight. She has her sword on her back, but she can tell she's not an experienced warrior. And as she approaches, she sees the loot strapped to your back, and she sort of smiles and gestures for you to perhaps place it. She doesn't say anything to you, but she gestures for you to play something.
Oh, I'll do a lot of Bob Dylan. I've been listening to a lot of Bob Dylan, so I'll do a little bit of Blowing in the Wind.
Perfect. As you start to play this soft tune, you realise, so you know a little bit about the blade singing magic, because it's something that as a bard you would probably have heard about in your travels, maybe not believed it was to be true. But blade singing is like it's a form of magic that is in a sense a dance, where it's a performance. It's a performance of sorts, that the steps, the footwork, the way that the sword is twirled allows it to control the weave around. And as you start to play, she unsheaths her sword and she begins to practice. And you see that as she slices through the air, the sword matches the rhythm of what you're playing, and it adds another layer to your music. It's almost like an accompaniment. Your lute plays the melody, and her sword adds sort of little riffs and overtures and slight little bits to the music, and just enhances the thing.
Whoa!
And as you wind down, you realise as you hear it, it sounds beautiful, but you also see the power behind it. The way that as she steps through, the music that comes off of the sound, the song that comes off of her sword, cuts through the air, and you really wouldn't want to be on the other end of that. And as you wind down, she sits herself next to you and says, "Sorry, I wanted to get some practice in. I've not really had to use the art of blade singing before. I've just sort of learnt it more for performances and everything."
You're preparing for using it for an actual fight.
Yeah, I mean, I've sparred, I guess, but it's always been training swords and stuff. This is life or death, I guess.
Yeah,
and
shit gets real out there.
She looks and she sees that you have a long sword sort of strapped to your back or to your side or whatever. And you're a warrior as well? I thought you were just a musician.
I would say I'm a survivor more than anything.
I would say that the best types of warriors are those that could call themselves survivors also. And she says, "Thank you for the song, please." And she motions you to stand up. And she says, "Go on, pull out your sword." And as you unsheath your long sword, she unsheaths her sword. She begins to slowly teach you, very basic, but the art of blading, how you need to focus on. Yours is different to hers. She keeps trying to tell you to focus on the weave and connect to it, but for you, you just seem to feel like the sword is an extension of your arm, as if you're playing another instrument. And after a few hours of just going over some of the forms, I guess, you manage to quite consistently conduct the art of blazing.
Oh, fuck yeah. I'm a natural.
So now you have, I'm going to throw it on your character sheet at some point, maybe in a bit, but
Okay.
you will have access to the Booming Blade cantrip.
Oh, yeah.
Which basically means if you attack someone, you can use this cantrip as part of the attack action, and if they willingly move between now and your next turn, they take thunder damage.
Oh
basically.
shit, that's kind of neat.
That's sick. Yes, yeah.
As we leave now that scene, we're going to head over to ZARLOK. And ZARLOK, I'm guessing you've been sat there.
Fred's not back till next week, isn't it?
ZARLOK, you've been sitting there and you heard the idea of a battle, got really excited, and then had to just sit through a bunch of talking, and you're pissed off because you just want to fight. You just have this overwhelming desire to test yourself against the most difficult of enemies. Anything strong, any beast, any strong fighter, you want to just test yourself and you want to come up trumps. That is what you care about. And you're sitting there impatiently, and you see Valandor approach. And Valandor is kind of like the only real warrior you've seen so far. He's not as big or as tall or as strong as you, but he's muscular. He has a sword on his hip, and he has, he's got a couple of scars on him. He's a seasoned man. He's a man of fighting. You feel like finally someone you could talk to and can connect to. And he sits down with like a bowl of this stew, a spare one for yourself, hands to you, and says, "Night before a fight, you've got to get well fed. Can't be going into it with an empty stomach, can you?"
No. I don't know if you're much of a fighter or not. I'm getting weak vibes. Tell me a story about a war you've been in.
He chuckles at that and says, "Oh well, I'm definitely at the twilight of my peak." But he nods over to JAFF, who at the moment is. So see that guy over there? See the white-haired guy?
Mm-hmm.
He in his youth he came over to these lands, caused a little bit of trouble, and I mean he thinks of himself as a pretty strong fighter. He didn't last 30 seconds in a fight with me. Before he even realised what was going on, he was on his arse. My sword pressed against his throat before he could even realise what was going on. I fought in battles, many battles against dangerous beasts. The plains of Xehith are a dangerous area. You can ask GILDOR, he'll tell you all about it. But I'm not here to brag. You're a strong warrior. You're a great warrior. You want to prove your strength, just like I did back in my day. I was desperate to prove my strength to my father, and I like to think I did, but I never really got his approval. But he's dead now, so I guess I got the last laugh there. But I have something for you. And he rummages around into his pocket, and he pulls out a compass, a small, very simple compass, and he hands it to you. Here, take this.
What am I gonna do with this? It's not gonna fucking hurt anyone.
He says, "Look at it," and as you sort of look over the compass, you notice two things. I'm going to say, because although you're not the most intelligent of people, you did come from a tribe that lived under the stars, didn't really have access to maps, so you understand north, south, east, and west, and you can roughly deduce it from the stars. So you look at the compass, and you know that compasses usually point north. But you look at the compass, and it's not pointing north. It's pointing more northeastish from where you currently are than it is true north. As you look at the compass, you see etched at the base is a number 4. And Valandor says, my father gave this to me. He said that this would be a true test of my strength, and only a strong warrior would be worthy to carry this and to complete the quest it sets. He says, in essence, this compass is the 4th of its kind. And it points to compass number 3. And compass number 3 is owned by a strong warrior. And if you get compass number 3, that will point to compass number 2, which will be owned by an even stronger warrior. And legend says that the person that controls and owns the primary compass, compass number 1, is the strongest warrior, the greatest warrior. I think if you're out there for the hunt, for the challenge to be the greatest warrior, follow that compass. And he says, apparently, I never found this out, but when you get close to the next compass, this compass will like vibrate and ring and let you know you're somewhere close. It's better served with you than me. I'm in the twilight of my peak, and I'm here to protect rather than attack now. I think it'd be a good challenge for you. He sort of claps you on the back, one warrior to another.
Thank you, little man. I'm very surprised I don't already have compass number 1. I am the greatest warrior ever.
Well, I love the enthusiasm.
So it will soon be. It will soon be.
I look forward to it. Good luck on your journey. And he claps you on the shoulder once more and silently eats his soup. A bit wondering, has he done the right thing, or has he sent some egomaniacal Goliath to his impending death, who might not quite understood the gravity of what he's actually just picked up, but he realizes he doesn't really care. We'll then go over to JAFF.
Above table, yeah, and that compass thing is fucking sick.
Yeah, that's a very good idea.
It's a great idea. Well, I've gone to the edge of the camp at this point, and I'm kind of looking across the desert, wondering if there's any kind of shrubbery or greenery of which I can harvest some kind of berries that I'd be familiar with, something to make some poison from, and just kind of looking over this desolate wasteland, thinking, fucking hell, like I preferred the slightly richer nature filled life in Azureth.
Make me a nature check, just out of interest.
Now?
Or survival. Sorry, survival, not there is no nature check, is there? It's survival check.
Oh wait, can I use the old one for this? Yeah.
Roll a d20 and add 7. Yes.
There is a nature check.
Yeah, no. Roll a d20 and add 7. 20. In the desert, there are no sort of berries of use to you, but there is this poisonous cacti that is indigenous to this area that if you were to take enough of the needles from this cacti and grind them up into like a sort of powder, it has the ability to produce a potion of paralysis when mixed into your sort of a standard potion kind of thing. So there's none that you can see right now, but you can keep your eye on it as you're wandering around on your journeys and marches maybe, and see if you find any.
Yeah, so I was just out there kind of looking for that.
Yeah, you don't see any near you, but you do know it exists. And as you're sort of stood there gazing off into the almost infinite expanse of the desert, you hear not very subtle clanking of armor behind you. And as you turn around, you see eerily similar face of Ciara Minora. It's
I'll say when I see her, that symbol on your chest, I've seen that before, but I think you already know that, don't you?
She nods and she says, I know you, Jean-Pierre JAFF. I have heard stories of your strength, of your bravery, of your leadership. My daughter spoke very highly of you.
Not too highly, I would think, but thank you for the kind comments. Your daughter, you say?
Yes, Phalar. She this convergence of threads really is crazy. The timing is absolutely extraordinary. She appeared at our tribe, but do me a favour, Jaff, above table. How long ago were you abandoned?
I would say this was probably.
I think I have it written down somewhere. It was 3 months ago, but I want to make sure that's still in keeping.
Yeah, it would have been less than a year ago. It probably would have been probably around about 3-4 months prior to me ending up in the prison.
Cool. She turned up here 3, maybe 4 months ago. Haven't seen her in years. She was well, I'm sure you know her backstory. And she says almost knowingly, and you realise at this moment that although this woman was someone that you shared so much with, you know, you spent so long with her, at no point did either of you ever divulge anything about your pasts. You know, you always traded stories of, you know, your toughest enemy you fought and times that you were in dangerous situations, but never once did you ask where she came from or what happened to her, why she was here. You just, neither of you ever spoke about that sort of stuff.
I'll say, well, she liked to keep her past, her background hidden, just as we all did. So I can't say I'm particularly familiar with you or your tribe or outside of Valandor and some of the Manti, anyone here really. I hope that it's nice to hear that she's still around.
She, as you say, still around, her face sort of darkens a second, and she sort of whispers to you, even though there's no one around you, she's still scared of being overheard. And she says, listen, no one knows what's going to happen when we arrive at Mortius. They're going to have stuff waiting for us. It's going to be crazy. I just know it. I need to ask something of you. I know you don't know me. I know you owe me nothing. But I can't lose them both. And she sort of looks down at that point.
Is Phalar going to be waiting for us in Mortuus?
I don't know. Before Phalar was exiled, shall we say, she was an amazingly devoted paladin. Her and her sister Xehith were sorry, let me just double check my notes real quickly.
Open up the law doc.
Yeah. her older sister Xehith and Phalar were devout followers of Corellon. Xehith actually was one day destined to lead as my daughter, and she took her teaching seriously. Xehith one day felt an evil presence deep within our midst. You couldn't work out exactly where it was, but she sensed it nonetheless. The presence led to Mortuus. She thought she was doing Corellon's bidding by investigating. She didn't stand a chance. Her body was delivered to us, lifeless and corrupted by necromantic energy. I could tell from that moment on her soul would never reach Corellon's grace. It was something corrupted and tainted. And as a mother, It's one thing to lose your daughter, but to know that she will see no eternal afterlife, despite being one of the most proud and devout followers of our God, it broke me. It also broke Phalar. And she vowed vengeance. She vowed to return, to go to Mortuus, and to take vengeance. And that is not the way of us paladins of Corellon. We don't seek vengeance. We are good people. We look for forgiveness. We look for the good in the world. And I couldn't let her go through that. I couldn't lose them both. So I exiled her. I banished her from Aradok. She was sent north, never to be seen again. And I think that's when she met up with you. As far as I know, she never returned until 3 months ago. She said that your band of adventurers had gone their separate ways. How she didn't go into detail. She was too frantic. She just passed by and simply said, "I'm going to avenge her." And I was powerless to stop her. She'd grown. She was powerful. She was strong. I could do nothing to stop her. And I have not heard from her or seen her since. If she's there, please, I beg of you, find her, save her, bring her back, stop her from a fate worse than death. I can't go through that again. And she starts to sort of choke up and cry.
I'll take in what she's telling me, and as she's kind of choking up and crying, I'll say to her, "I apologize for the loss you have suffered, and I will do what I must."
She didn't say much about her time away, but she did speak highly of you. She was sad how things ended. She wanted to explain, but she couldn't. Maybe if you see her, you'll have the chance to ask her exactly what happened. But I digress. Listen, I must complete my nightly prayers. Thank you. And finally, we have a moment where GILDOR, I'm assuming at this point, you and Fallon have kept apart from each other during this hub of stuff, but with a knowing glances between each other that at some point a conversation needs to be had. Do you approach her, or do you wait for her to approach you?
I think I've done enough encroaching on her by pushing the boundaries in the fire gazing, so I'm going to let her come over to me.
She waits a while. She tries to keep herself busy, and that's notably weird for her, and people find that weird because, you know, she's blind, she's old, she's frail, you know, she's usually sort of wheeled out for the big things and then sort of kept in bubble wrap outside of that because, you know, she's one of the oldest living elves in Xehith. But she's busying herself around. She's carrying stuff, like food stuff, to the cooks at the moment who are trying to feed all these extra people. She's speaking with the other leaders of the tribe, making sure everyone understands. Even though this is more Valandor's job as someone that's kind of leading the forces, she's trying to get involved, trying to keep herself busy. I think she knows that the moment she's not busy, she needs to come and approach you. And eventually, you know, the jobs start to dry up. She has less things to do, and she looks over to you and she says, let's go for a walk to where we used to train." And she begins to hike up the side of the mountain up towards the streams that you guys lived together in for 2 years, just the two of you, you know, where you trained, where you studied magic and the weave and learnt a redacted history of the Master of Mages, where you learn about your responsibilities. And not only that, you think back to the times outside of your studies, because as much as it was intense, you realize that living with your parents, you didn't have a moment to speak about anything other than learning. And it's only now that you sort of reminisce back to the times with Fallon that she gave you way more free time. Granted, you were in solitude, you were on your own, but you were allowed to explore, to speak about things other than magic to her. They were brief for moments. You were still busy training, but compared to what you were used to, it was a breath of fresh air. And you realise that those 2 years, although built up a lot of pressure on you, were weirdly nice in retrospect. And as you reach the small huts that are still standing that you guys lived in for those 2 years by the side of the stream, Fallon stops and sits and doesn't really know what to say.
I think that GILDOR, for the first ever time, looks at Fallon not in the same way, in the same authoritarian way as if you see a teacher in school, they're all just teachers. They're all in that same bracket. He doesn't look at her the same way he would his parents. He is looking at Fallon for what she is, which is just a frail old lady. And after sort of letting the moment hang for a minute, I say, Fallon, I don't want to hate you like I hate my parents. I could. I don't want to. I'm sorry for what happened in the fire gazing. I probably overstepped the mark, but for two divination wizards, we really are not on the same page. So if you trust me and you treat me like the master of mages you think I am, then maybe we can actually build something here.
Make an insight check for me real quick. She's emotional right now. It would have been flat, but it's fine because neither of them push over the DC to learn anything exceptional.
I didn't mean to do it over lunch.
It's fine, it's fine. She's emotional right now. She is processing a lot, and when you say how you don't want to hate her, you see that is something that really resonates within her, almost as if hate is something that is an emotion that she's had to deal with a lot in her life, and understands that sometimes it's hard to hate someone, and sometimes it's far too easy to hate someone.
I say, look, I am not going to force you to say anything that you don't want to say, or face anything that you don't want to face. I can see now that I did not give you the credit that you deserve, and for all your power and all your prowess, you are also just a woman. I want you to see that me and my friends are not here to rebel. We're not here to desecrate our heritage or destroy or anything. I cast in my hand Chill Touch, which is a necromantic cantrip, and I say to her, I can do this. I know that you can as well. If I can do it, what? It's a part of me. And then I cast in the other hand Firebolt and let it sit there. I can do this as well, and I know that you can as well. These are parts of the weave. These are parts of magic. I want to find out everything there is on my terms. And if that means straying from the path that you see, straying from the path that you think is right, then I will do that. And I don't want to do it against you, but I will if I have to. And now you know at least that there is no bad blood when I say that.
Can you make me another insight check?
That's funny.
Above table, I'm so glad that that's the one roll you got that 20 on. As you cast Chill Touch in your hands, you see in her face a dread, and she looks scared. scared, not of you as a person, as of what you could become. And she just starts to say over and over again, just like low into herself, I've made a mistake. I've made a mistake. I've made a mistake. I've made a mistake. Oh, I've made a mistake. Oh no, I've made a mistake. Oh, it's not your fault, but I've made a mistake. And she's like, she's now starting, you know what? She's starting to have a panic attack. She's trying to control it, but she's starting to have a panic attack at this point. And she's like, made a mistake. Oh no. And she just can't get her words out. There's stuff that she wants to say, but she just can't speak at the moment.
I cast Find Familiar and let Raymond jump onto her and try and sort of help calm her down. And I say, look, for all the years that I spent on my own, not speaking to anyone, I'm not an idiot. I can see that whoever that guy was on the other side of Vilgefortz, he clearly meant something to you. Whether he's a lover, whether he was family, I don't know. It's none of my business. Whether you choose to tell me or not, I won't cast detect thoughts on you for that. But if you can't make peace with that, don't burden that on me. I'm my own person, and if I'm going to make my mistakes, they're mine. They're not yours.
As you say the words, I don't know who that person was. I don't know who he was to you. She says, that person was my partner. He was my husband. And that person is your father. And that's where we get our session today, boys.
What?
Gee whiz. That was epic.
Welcome back to Azureth, guys.